I get involved with sparring, and we select sparring partners between Rob McCracken and AJ's training team and AJ and me, and to find a 23 stone guy who moves fast, who has fast hands, who has a great engine, who forces the pressure, is very...
Jake Paul can come 15-20% in regards to Anthony Joshua. He's a completely different specimen. Look, you'll see what it looks like.
His career, if he wants to get 100 million and not even break sweat, you take the fight. Is it going to enhance his stock as the world's #1 contender? Not at all, because nobody's going to take Jake Paul seriously. But on the other hand, should I don't even want to play devil's advocate. What if Joshua hurts this guy, seriously hurts this guy, and puts this guy...
Because Joshua's going to try to make an example out of him, for sure.
And will.
I mean, Anthony Joshua's one of the biggest one-punch KO artists. What he did to Francis Ngannou, good Lord.
Yes.
In his sparring camp, I personally don't believe that you can actually... The sparring partners he's got right now, they're pushing him to be...
real fight. And, some people say, yeah, but is AJ going to go easy on him? No. Was sparring. It's the first time where we consistently had 7 or 8 guys in camp, living in camp, training with him day and day.
I think it's still going to be dangerous. I'm actually quite worried.
I won't dwell on that too much. I want to do something completely different this time.
The training camp reports are in, and they paint a terrifying picture. Anthony Joshua isn't just getting ready for a fight. He's operating a high-performance finishing school for destruction. The most chilling story to emerge is the night he knocked out 4 different sparring partners in a single session. This isn't just a display of brute force, it's a statement of tactical dominance. Promoter Eddie Hearn confirms the extreme difficulty of even finding men who can mimic the unique challenge Jake Paul presents a 23-stone giant who moves with the speed and relentless pressure of a much smaller man. These sparring partners weren't just beaten. They were systematically broken down, struggling to even land a punch against Joshua's refined technique and fight-ending power. The consensus from the boxing world is unanimous and alarming. Legends and analysts are not just predicting a win for Joshua, they are issuing grave warnings about the physical danger Jake Paul is in. David Hay lays it out in the simplest terms, stating Paul is a completely different specimen, bringing a squirt gun to a hurricane. The visual of them standing side by side is jarring. It looks less like a boxing match and more like a man standing next to a heavyweight destroyer. The analysis goes deeper than just size.
It's a dangerous fight. Of course, it's a dangerous fight. But I'm not here to be there selling their show. I've got no interest in the fighters from that perspective. I just think that he is a licensed boxer. He trains. He knows what he's getting involved with. He's not an idiot. And he knows what he's going to be up against, but he must believe in himself.
We can all joke, but nobody wants any permanent damage to happen to Jake Paul. But if Anthony Joshua hits Jake Paul with the right hand he hit Francis Ngannou with, he could brown bread him.
Joshua, who's now 5 inches bigger than you, maybe more, or 4 or 5 inches, and about 100 pounds heavy.
No, I don't back Jake Paul. That means what is it you're doing? You have to smoke him in 3 rounds. The same way he did Ngannou. How many rounds was Ngannou?
2, second round.
Exactly. So he has to smoke him.
If Anthony Joshua puts 10-ounce gloves on and gets in a boxing ring and Jake Paul is in the other corner, this won't last long. This will last as long as Josh wants it to.
Joshua thing is crazy.
Is that a real conversation?
Jake's a fucking lunatic, and it's probably real. I saw Joshua knock out Francis Ngannou, and the guy was like out cold for 5 minutes. And this is a guy who had never been knocked down, let alone knocked out.
If he steps in the ring with him, and actually a bell rings and there are punches thrown, every bit of Jake Paul is not a real boxer conversation is gone.
Joe Rogan points to Joshua's legendary one-punch knockout power, a force that put a seemingly indestructible fighter like Francis Ngannou to sleep for minutes. Derek Chisora adds a grim reality check, suggesting that if this fight goes past the first few rounds, it would be a shock. His expectation is a repeat of the Ngannou fight, a methodical, brutal, and swift execution. The most sobering perspectives focus on the unbridgeable gap in experience and the very real consequences. Tony Bellew states coldly that the fight will last as long as Josh wants it to last. The concern isn't just about a loss for Paul, but about permanent damage. Sam Jones delivers the most chilling warning of all, suggesting that one clean right hand from Joshua could have life-altering consequences, a sentiment that moves the conversation from sports entertainment to a genuine safety concern.
Camp, living in camp, training with him day in, day out. And it made a big difference in the fight. So I think he knows that the way that he's going to improve is time in the gym and also the quality.
What Anthony Joshua had done to Francis Ngannou, he went out there and iced him in a couple of rounds. A guy coming from a different discipline. Well, this kid's coming from another level. You know, white collar boxing in 2018, gone through the mill, and the only boxer really that he's actually boxed, a legitimate boxer, he got beat by, and that was in Tommy Fury.
Bigger in this equation, not for me. Maybe for MVP, Nikisa, Jake Paul, but not for me. I've kind of marked it or titled it David versus Goliath just because of the size difference. Like, Jake Paul's a big guy. He is. He's 6'1", 220, probably fights around, the 200-pound mark. AJ is an enormous guy. Like, he's a big unit. And I think Jake realized that when they came face to face. I don't know if that's the first time they've ever come that close. I'm sure they've met behind the scenes. But I think there was a realization from Jake Paul, like, fuck, this is a big dude. It's a very big dude who isn't coming to play. Like, there was no play.
Yeah. You just don't go from there right up to there. I don't believe it. And I won't believe it until the two of them got 10-ounce gloves on in a boxing ring. Because if Anthony Joshua puts 10-ounce gloves on and gets in a boxing ring and Jake Paul is in the other corner,
Even those in Paul's orbit seem to grasp the magnitude of the challenge. His own brother, Logan Paul, calls him a lunatic for taking the fight, recalling the visceral shock of seeing what Joshua did to Ngannou. This internal doubt highlights the central theme. Confidence and internet fame are meaningless when you are standing across the ring from a proven, elite-level killer. The message from Joshua's camp, from his sparring sessions, and from every boxing expert is clear and unified. This isn't a step up for Jake Paul. It's a leap into a fire he cannot possibly withstand.